All right. Hey, Dave.
Yeah, Martin.
Happy to have you on the podcast.
Thanks for the invite.
Nice setup you have over there. This microphone is new, right? You bought it just for the podcast, or?
Podcast is one of the purposes. Second one is for their own business purposes to have better
All right.
conversations with the guys.
All right. Makes sense. Today, I want to talk with you about your fitness journey, about your struggles and wins that came along the way. I also want to talk about mental health and how fitness affects specific areas of your life. But before we go in, maybe you can introduce yourself quickly. Where are you from? Maybe your age. What do you do professionally?
Sure, yeah. So I'm born and raised in Switzerland. I'm still in Switzerland. Haven't moved anywhere. I'm 32, getting this year to the 33 mark. Still kind of feeling young. And if people usually have to guess my age, they are still in like the 25, 12 range. So I take it. I'm working where I used to work for 100% at Roche Diagnostics as a test manager. And beginning of this year, I was able to reduce to 80%, giving me 20% time to focus a bit on my own project, especially for this year.
Go into it. What is your own project?
So it's the opposite of what I usually do. It goes more into the graphical area. So I always used to do graphical design stuff, mostly logos, flyers, etc., all the way for family and friends. And what I always preferred was though like more of a concept art, being a bit more creative. So it goes more into the film area, the film industry. So what I'm building up is to aim for a market gap in the pitch deck design for writers and artists.
Amazing. I always love hearing those stories when someone embarks on this new journey on doing something on their own. That's you will have a lot of up and downs.
Yes.
But I just can recommend it. It's amazing what you will learn along the way. That also means that you do not only have a very demanding job, but you also have your side hustle. You have a social life. You also have a top physique. You are extremely lean. Every time you load your pictures into the gym performance training app, and when you do our check-ins, then I see like those photos, and you look literally like a fitness model. So very, very lean, top physique, really. But obviously, this is not just given; it's earned, right? You're going to the gym 5 times a week on average, sometimes even 6. What motivates you to do that?
So I would say the motivation by now is different than it was in the beginning. In the beginning, it's like whenever you start training, you see quite some fast results, especially if you go for like 5, 6, 7 weeks, you stay consistent. And in the beginning, the motivation was really to see the visible changes, because in the beginning, the body can adapt quite fast to some training. So the progress in the beginning is way faster than you may see it after 2 or 3 years of training. And now it has a bit changed to still seeing progress, but mainly also for my work-life balance, for my mental health, which is going to be a topic later on as well. And it is the perfect balance in between the work stress and everything else going on, also with my own business, which can be exhausting, as you mentioned in the beginning, because you need to invest quite some time. You step into unknown waters and areas. So that's one of the biggest motivations, and still seeing the changes, I'm curious on where I will end up with. Not just after I think more than 1.5 years now, where the potential is going and where I end up with at the end of that.
That's awesome. I hear that quite a bit, and that's, by the way, also my motivation. It used to be just to look good, to gain some muscles, get leaner, to get a good body, and then over time, I think the older you get, you realize there's so much more to fitness. It's also about your mental health, about your well-being, about being energized. And to me, if I miss the gym for a week, I don't even know. I don't recall when that happened last time, but when that would happen, I would go crazy. So interesting that you have somehow the same.
That's when the gym is not a mandatory thing you do on a daily basis. It rather gets a habit, and if you lose out of that habit, that's when you start feeling okay, something is missing.
You're crazy. Yeah, absolutely. A question I personally get often asked, and I'm going to ask you
Mhm.
the same. How do you find time to go to the gym 5 times a week or even 6 times?
So here, I'm very glad about my about the company I'm working with. I'm very glad about Roche that basically supports flexible working times. And I was able very early on when starting the journey with you to block actually every afternoon, or let's say every lunchtime. So between 11 and 1 o'clock, 2 hours, my calendar is blocked every day of the week. And I've managed to keep that. Projects respected, my managers respected. It's supported from various sides, and it hasn't been an issue. And for those days, it may be an issue, like Corona is over, we get back on site, right? 2 days a week. I simply train then on the weekend. So those 2 days I miss during the week,
Mm,
I
mm.
shift then to the weekends.
Yeah, let's pause here quickly because I think that's a huge takeaway already for everyone who will listen to that. Just blocking out the time in the calendar, super, super
Yes.
important. Even I do that. And yet there will be a day where you cannot go
Yes.
because like
Yeah.
emergency, because like your
Yep.
job asks you to work this time, whatever. But then you simply like move
Mhm.
this calendar entry to
Yep.
another day, right? Maybe it's weekend, maybe it's evening, but this is how you do it, right? Like you say, okay, this is the
Yep.
time I'm going to work out, and
Yep.
then you go.
It's probably the
um
biggest
cool.
advantage from going from 6 workouts a week to 5. You have one more day where you can shift in case you cannot work it out differently.
Flexibility.
But I
Yeah,
mean, you have seen it
yeah,
in the app. I've been working out also at 11 o'clock in the evening. So I also do the trainings there if I have to get my training in, because I feel like, okay, I need that break, I need that cutoff. So I'm also fine going in the evening, but I feel my body more adapted to being the over lunchtime kind of type
yeah,
for the workout. So that's where my
yeah,
best workouts have
yeah,
come from.
yeah. I like this as well. Yeah, and it's also good time because you can get some work done in the morning, then you have like this break, and then you clear your mind,
Exactly.
your brain, and then you come
Yep.
back to work. And yeah, that's cool. um when we started working together, that's a pretty long time already. You struggled to gain weight. So this is
Yes.
not a problem that usually my clients have. Usually it's the other way around. They just struggle to
Hmm.
lose weight.
Yep.
But tell me, what was the problem exactly, and how did the coaching help you?
So the problem from my side is a bit, some people call it lucky. I find it a bit annoying, but it can be for advantages, mainly the metabolism. So I hardly can gain any sort of body fat, even if I would try to eat junk food more for weeks, months, which is not the primary source of body fat gaining. But just as an example, I never was able to really gain that sort of fat you see when you don't work out and you get that sort of small belly, whatever. Um, that was never a thing for kind of my body type. So the only way to actually gain weight is really by pure pure muscle, and maybe some smaller variation in percentage in the body fat, but still way below the average of would be what you normally would have if you do not work out or if you just start. So
Yeah.
it's like really comes
So
down to the
I
body
think
type.
the typical heart
Yes.
gainer, how we call it, right? That you can eat a lot and weight just
Yes.
doesn't go
Hmm.
go up. You don't gain any weight. You're right. Like most people consider this as like being happy. That's cool, right? However, if you want to gain
Yep.
some muscle mass, this can also be very tricky because you have to eat a
Hmm.
lot to make
Yep.
it happen, to provide the body all the
Hmm.
nutrients. So tell me, how did the coaching help you to finally gain some weight?
So one for sure was the meal plan. So I always have eaten healthy. So I love cooking. It's one of my biggest hobbies, and it will remain that way. And so I was always keen on like cooking well, but still that it remains in a healthy area that you can really like profit from your meal intakes. And was for sure the meal plan with the like intermediate snacks, which were more a bit on top of what I usually had. So I ended up actually eating more than I already did. And secondly was really the like the workout plan in the beginning of consistency. So really having the accountability to go to the gym every week, 5 days, no matter what. So, and if you combine those two things, even as a hard gainer, you can start to see the progress. For some, it may be faster if you're not a hard gainer, or are more into like you're easily gaining weights and then you do the typical bulking and then you cut. There it may go faster. But for me, after 2 to 3 weeks already when starting with you, I saw like, hey, I actually could gain weight if I continue this.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's pretty simple. Like when you eat and you don't gain weight, well, the only solution is like eat
Yes.
more, right? And in your case, we had to like increase carbohydrates, we had to add some snacks, and out of a sudden, the scale is finally moving, right? What was the biggest win you had in the last almost 2 years? By the way, it's almost 2 years.
My biggest win, I would say one of it was reaching the 70 kilogram mark, because I mean, at the beginning when we started, I was like 62, something like this. And my body fat percentage has not really changed. It went up by a small bit, but it's still in a very low state. And I was super surprised that I actually was able to gain between 7 to 8.
I mean, be honest here. Like you don't need to hold yourself back. If you would take out your shirt right now, you would still see the abs and the obliques, and it's like amazing. Weight goes up, and you can stay at very low body fat percentage. And obviously, that doesn't happen overnight. Again, it's not like
No, it doesn't.
2 months and he gained like 8 kilograms of muscle mass. Not at all. It's a slow process. But yeah, slow and steady wins.
Exactly.
The race,
that was one win for sure. And the second one was that fitness is not anymore a thing I have to do. It's more of I can and want to do. So it really got a bit into the area of it being a habit. That's what you usually hear from everyone, and it sounds stupid for everyone who starts. Yeah, make fitness being a habit and not something you have to do. But I was skeptical for this one in the beginning as well. But now I end up where gym for me is part of my daily routine, is part of me resetting my mind. It's part of me getting through hard working times or whatever. So that was the second biggest success.
It's important. It's cool, because like when you go to the gym and you feel like you have to go, there's always this kind of negative connotations around it, like, oh no, I have to go again. Oh, Monday I need to go to the gym. But it's okay. It's like for your body. It's like you do something for your health, for physical and mental health. Then out of a sudden it's a different mindset, right? You look at it completely differently. Awesome. Then on the other hand, what is your biggest struggle?
I actually thought of this this morning while being in the gym. I think I ended up with the phase where I catch the angina. So I was really sick with fever for 2 weeks straight. And before that, I was at the stage where I was like, hey, I'm short on breaking a plateau in weights, short on like making again some more significant progress. The thing is, the body gets catabolic, so the opposite of anabolic, during fever. So it starts breaking down your muscle proteins. And I remember I lost like 3 kilograms. You may remember still as well, because it was visible, it was hard, and it kind of set me back, not only physical but also a bit mentally, because afterwards going back to the gym, looking at the app, which shows you exactly what you had on previous weights, and you try to continue where you left off and you basically cannot. So
the good thing is though, you catch up pretty quickly.
Exactly.
Right? Obviously you cannot go after like a week off or after being sick. You cannot go to the gym and hit it the same weight. It's not gonna work. But you will recover.
That was on the other side also one of my biggest learnings from this time. Even from setbacks like this, you can recover quite fast. You just need to keep the mental motivation to push through 2 to 3 more weeks. Just to be back and accept the fact that you maybe lost 1 month. 1 month is nothing if you compare it to your journey anyway.
Yeah. Maybe what helps is if you go to the gym the first time of being sick and you see, okay, you don't perform very well, so your new like level is lower, but the next week already it's already higher and
Yes,
higher and higher.
exactly.
So this can also be
Exactly.
motivating again to
Yep.
see how the performance is going
Yep.
up.
Absolutely.
You are now at a pretty advanced state, because even before we worked together, you were working out, and then again we've been working for almost 2 years. Um, I consider you a pretty advanced like athlete, if you want to say so, right? Your fitness journey. When has it begun, by the way? When did you
That's
first go to
that's
the
a good
gym?
question. So I was at a phase where I was like also training 4 to 5 weeks, 4 to 5 days a week, sorry. And I also had a trainer, but it was more of like, the first time you think, okay, I may need a coach, and you go with one of those who make like the public. They don't really have that sort of time as you, for example, have with your clients or me now. And it was good though. I learned already a lot about my kind of my body type, what's capable of and whatnot. But since you don't have the accountability, and he really holds you like accountable for what you have to do, it's like at some point you kind of fade out a bit. And then I was more again on like home workouts because Corona approached. And
Right.
it just really picked off with the consistency and everything once I then started with you. And I think that was the purpose, because I knew, okay, I want to do it a bit more, I don't want to call it serious, but a bit more structured, a bit more, consistent. Again, we're on the term consistent. Then I used to do it before, because I wanted to see, okay, what sort of boundaries can I push? And yeah, here we are now, more than 1.5 years.
Yeah, super cool. So I was just thinking, what is this for me? Because I've been working out for like, I don't know, 14, 15 years or so. And even I have a coach from time to time, not right now, but it happens. And for me, it's probably to get another like workout program that I maybe haven't done before. What you're saying, the accountability, because like, yeah, I know you need to write down your workouts and your performance, you need to take progress pictures, but if you don't have a coach that says, okay, it's time to send me your pictures, it's like, who cares, right? Like it's sometimes bringing up the self-discipline is tricky. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, actually just the importance of like having a coach. Even coaches need coaches. It's like I hear that from the best athletes. I mean, there's a reason why the best of the best have coaches as well,
Absolutely.
right? So I think everyone needs one. But something came to mind before when he said about the personalization, about this one-on-one feedback I can give you. And I don't know whether I have any other coaches who hear that. Maybe I do, and I make them now a bit pissed. But anyway, like I know for a fact coaches who have everything automatized, meaning they never have an interaction with their client, right? So they basically say, okay, Dave, you're now my client. I press the button, and just everything from diets to training is automatized, that I don't even know whether Dave is my client. And I think it works short term. Sometimes people just need a plan to follow, but at some point you will have struggles, and you hit me up, hey, what do I do now? Like I've been sick, or hey, can we switch the training up? If it's all just automatized, then there's no chance of doing that, right? You might get an answer from an AI bot, I don't know, but I still think like people, they need this interactive communication. It's what I need to do most. Sometimes, like, not for you because you're very, very consistent, but for others, it's being there for them when they lack motivation, or when they struggle. They have a setback, or they broke their ankle, like they I don't know, break their foot, cannot go to the gym, whatever it is, and yeah, I can adjust the training program, but more importantly is the mindset here. And then if I can hop on a call and talk it through, this is what actually helps them. But this is just a little side note.
True.
So thanks for bringing this up.
No, it's true. It brings a sort of different initial accountability boost to the table than you would have maybe otherwise. And especially if you get to the point first time where you don't see a lot of progress, this is then very key that someone reminds you to keep going, switches up the workouts, etc., which is another very
Yeah.
important part.
Yeah. So often
part of
I
it.
have to just like to reconfirm that they're doing well, and they need to just keep going and doing what they do. What I like as well is when we have a call or we send messages and you say, hey, I started now with a new business, and what do you think about this name, or do you have an idea? I really love this, everything also around like this relationship that develops, right? It's not only purely about fitness. Obviously, yeah, I'm the coach, but some questions, some communications we had were about starting a business or logo and other things. This I really appreciate as well.
Exactly.
You mentioned consistency a lot, and I checked obviously the training app. I mean, there's I think 1 or 2 weeks when you didn't work out for 4 or 5 times a week. Probably when you were sick, or once when you were on vacation. I don't remember the second time, but yeah. Other than that, it's 4, 5, or 6 times a week. So super consistent. When you have a bad day, let's say you just don't want to go, you don't feel 100%, maybe you didn't sleep that well, maybe it's just late and you would just rather watch a Netflix series. What do you do to really motivate yourself and just go?
Funny enough, right now it's quite easy to motivate me, because I think you need to experience it once. If you don't feel like working out and you still push yourself for going for a workout. I used to have one of my best workouts ever, exactly on a day where I was like, I don't feel like working out at all. And my body was like, you rather stay on the couch, watch Netflix, it's raining outside, stay. And I still pushed myself, and it was late in the evening as well. And since then, whenever I have a short moment of not feeling like working out, I just remind myself of how good the workout is. And the best thing is, afterwards you feel even better, because you went,
You feel so great. Yeah.
you did it. And it's fine if for once you're not able to do like every exercise, if you're really like tired, or whatever, but you pushed through, you went, you did your core workout, you showed up, and
you nailed that one. You nailed it.
That's
like,
what I learned.
I'm with you 1000%. Like, if you show up despite you not wanting, despite you not being 100%, this is like when you develop the discipline, and this is when you're proud of yourself because you went despite not being 100%. And on the other hand, obviously, when you say you will go 5 times a week and then you end up going 3 times, you the next week maybe you say I'll go 6 times, but you already know it's not going to happen. You go 2 or 3 times, and this is just like a losing downward spiral.
But it's
so
I mean, I have to be honest here as well. It's something you have to learn, right? So I remember exactly at the beginning, there were 2 or 3 times when I was like, I don't feel like working out, and I simply had to skip it. And you have to be in the situation once, and maybe it turns out to be different for everyone. If someone doesn't feel like working out and it doesn't help either, then maybe you think about rescheduling that training then, or whatever. For me, I found out I have some of my best workouts in those times. So
maybe because you didn't have any expectations, because I'm not feeling great, but I go and then out of sudden see, wow. Yeah, I think we also need to differentiate between like an illness or something, like an external factor that prevents you from going to the gym. I mean, then I'm the last person who tells you, oh, go to the gym, show up. No, it doesn't make sense when you have fever, right? But it's just because, you have like, you're a little bit tired, or you would rather watch Netflix, and come on, go to the gym, right?
Yes, absolutely. So much better. Being sick is a different... I once made a mistake, went too early back to the gym. I wasn't feeling well, and I actually got sick for the second time because my body just fell back to what it was a day ago or 2 days ago. So I never do this, and there it's important to give that 1 additional day or 2 additional days of rest, and then...
Yeah, this is what I still have to learn, because every single time it just go way too early, and obviously the body is still recovering. It doesn't have like the energy, and then you go to the gym, put stress onto your body, and then it just takes longer, or you actually get sick again. So Yeah, I should take you as a role model there. I remember you telling me that you have like some kind of mental health issues in the past. Um,
Yeah,
is that
so
correct?
I'm
We don't need to go into
I'm
details
no,
if you
I'm
don't
fine.
want to.
I'm kind of trying to work it out since a few weeks to what exactly it was, or what exactly I would call it. Not fully was.
If
It can also be still is to a certain degree.
okay,
Um, it
if you're okay,
all
feel
good.
free to explain quickly
Yeah.
what happened, and
So
maybe also how fitness helped you.
in general, one big thing was kind of being close to a burnout at work. That was kind of a harsh trigger for reality. And burnout is like a word that everyone likes to use when you have a bit of stress. But if you get to the point where you truly are in an area of a burnout, then it's something completely different. And I've had good colleagues lost, quote unquote, to burnouts, and it's not something to take easy. And I also denied it for myself for a very long time. I didn't reach the point of a burnout because I had very good line managers who took care of early on, took mitigations, etc. And the gym actually saved me kind of there. And this sounds whatever movie style stupid, but it really like helped me to kind of sort out and differentiate between this is work and this is private life. So keep the work stress away from the private life. So I was really able to reset my mind, and in my case, over lunch. So no matter what happened in the morning, I had a fresh working start in the afternoon, where a lot of my colleagues still were occupied from the stuff that happened in the morning. And that's one thing that kind of made it a bit difficult. And second,
Can I ask you what are the symptoms you were
um,
having when you know, oh, you need to like slow down a
so
bit?
for me, I'm someone who can fall asleep super fast anywhere if I want to. And I wasn't able to properly sleep and slept 2 to
Yeah, that's
3
obvious one.
hours per night. So it remained for a longer period. It's okay if you have it for a weekend or so for whatever reason, but
Yeah,
it remained for months. Second was I started thinking about work while trying to fall asleep, and you have these sort of arguments with a person. You want to have the arguments, and you keep having them in your mind just to defend a certain point, defend your project, defend your team. So you really cannot let go of any sort of work. And
very
third one
very
is
common. Yeah.
just
Mhm.
tired overall. And the smallest tasks to me were like big long-term tasks, even though they weren't. So the smallest things which were added, simple as also make this email and clarify this and this, for me was already okay. Huge thing on top for no
Overwhelmed.
reason. And
Mm. Mm.
that's where I realized, okay, it's not going into a very healthy direction. And
Mm.
once I had the self-denial over, because it was a few months like this, and once I had this over and I spoke to my line manager, they took immediate actions before it got way worse.
But it was you who told him, okay,
Yes.
something needs to
Yes.
change, right? Okay. I still hope that at some point, like a manager realizes, oh, or coworkers, I don't know, it's like that they realize, oh, something is off, or he feels a bit overwhelmed. Maybe we can
Yeah.
ask, right?
They realized the problem is we were a small team and every one of us was close. So it's like,
Got it. There's a little ad I'm plugging here. My friend just launched a business called Mood Talk, and this is exactly about that you consistently evaluate the employees to see where are they at, how do they feel valued, are they stressed out, and to prevent burnout at the end, right? Because like you were strong enough to realize, okay, it's happening, I need to do something. Some people don't, and then all of a sudden it's too late, right? So yeah, I think you did a good job telling this. Did you work out at the time?
yes, it did. but just because of the my managers back then, who really took immediate actions. I didn't wait one single day, so it went really fast with the actions. I wasn't written sick or anything. I kept working, but in a controlled and way different way.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I try to find a good like lecture also to help me a bit. So I've read the book of I actually do, yeah, Getting Things Done from David Allen. It's a
Okay.
very
No,
good
never done that. No.
book that helped me. It's different for every person. I'm not saying you need to read this and this book. You need to this, the usual stereotype of read the book, whatever. Da, da, da. But this, in my
You need
case,
to read
really
that.
helped. I got it
Yeah.
recommended from a good team colleague, and I was able to take a lot of messages out of it. I wasn't able to agree with everything or adapt to everything, but you don't need to. You just need to find one to two
Impossible.
key parts that may
Yeah,
stick to you, which you
absolutely.
can adapt. And if it helps you, then it's even better.
Yep. That's exactly how I read books. It's not my intention
Mhm.
to just like completely reorganize my life, but maybe one or two things I can take out that I can, implement and get value out of it. Then that's great. How did it affect your gym performance when you were having like where you were close to burnout and then you still went to the gym? How did you feel then? Did you also think about work?
It was one of the only places where I didn't think about work. I think, and if I did, it fueled my workout. I think I had some of the longest or greatest workouts exactly in that time, because I was already at the place where I knew that the gym is going to help me to disconnect. And it was at a time where I was in home office for 2 years. So I was in home office straight for more or less 2 years, and the gym was freshly opened, etc. And the combination of not having the gym, stress, and home office 24/7, which, yeah, not a lot of things were open, you remember, of course. So you couldn't do much anyway. And once it was open, I was going into the gym. Gym for me was really like that point where I was able to like either get off the stress or anger I had to certain situations or whatever. So it may sound a bit paradox, but it like fueled my gym performance to better. This may vary though from person to person as well, because I know burnout cases where you don't even know how to
Yeah,
stand up anymore in
you
the
don't
morning,
even.
and
Yeah, yeah,
that's then
yeah.
concerning. Um,
Yeah, it's different, but it can be an
yes,
outlet, like it seems to be the case for
yes,
you, where okay, I'm gonna
yeah,
go there, and maybe when you're frustrated and don't
yes,
feel like working or whatever, at least you
yeah,
can go to the gym and
exactly.
hit the weights.
For me, it was the main reason why
Um,
I didn't end up in a burnout, besides the support I got from work.
Amazing. What do you do today to not get into this space anymore? To not fall into a burnout like situation?
Um, let's say I grew older also during work, so I made a lot of lessons.
Learn to disconnect.
Yeah, I made a lot of like lessons the hard way at work, which in hindsight I appreciate, because it's a steep learning curve, and I was able to take away a lot from those things, and which helped me now to look at certain situations or issues in different ways. And gym being part of my daily routine, um, I don't even get to the point where in the evening I'm like thinking about work. There are a few rare cases, which is also okay. If something bothers you at work, you should be able to think of it without feeling okay, it's going to a bad direction. This is
Mm.
normal. It's just not normal if for more than half a year or so consistently you cannot disconnect. Then it's probably going to a direction where it's not healthy.
Mm. Mm.
So
Mm.
right now I'm
Is there something you do to track, monitor all of that? So let's say I don't know, maybe you journal in the evening to see okay what happened, or how stressed am I, or is it like how do you make sure that
Yeah.
it won't happen again. It's
Um,
because sometimes, and I can also speak out of experience because I was also at the
mhm,
point where I just did way too many things at the point, like the 9 to 5
mhm,
and the side business and
yeah.
the baby and then learning
Mhm,
Portuguese and going to gym and just way too many things. And for me, the symptoms were very
mhm,
obvious. I had like the teeth grinding at night. I couldn't sleep like you. I was like,
yeah.
yeah. So I know, how it can feel, but how do you monitor everything that it doesn't happen again?
So I have an indirect monitoring through weekly like check-ins with my line manager at work. So like
Okay.
it's always a topic of how is it going in the project. So there I know I could always speak up if I feel like, hey, it's going into direction, or if I see a colleague who's going into the direction of burnout. I tried, and I remember I tried the whole journaling. I think it's a good thing if you can find yourself doing it regular. And I tried it, and I may go back trying it. Um, but I had a hard time, especially like in the morning at breakfast, already trying to think of everything. So at the moment, for me, I don't track anything at all in regard to that topic. Even
Mm,
though I think it's generally something everyone at least should try once, and either it's something that works for you or it's something that doesn't. And I think it can work. In my case, I first need to probably adapt a bit, or a bit more, get more used to it, or find the further purpose, such that I could like
yeah, yeah. If you don't see the purpose, then
incorporate it
obviously,
into
yeah,
my
yeah.
daily routine.
Mm, mm. Okay, cool. Um, let's say someone sees you in the gym
Mhm.
and he sees how jacked you are, how lean you are, your definition, and he would come to you and say, Dave, I want to look like you. What do I need to do? Um, what advice? Let's say three pieces of advice. What did you tell them to do?
That fits that you say three, because I came up with three different. I had to think of it quite a while, because in the end there are so many things like yeah, eat properly and do your workout, but those are maybe some basic stuff you also hear from your coach. So the three topics I took away, and the first one is probably a washed out statement, and it's badly has probably a bad state of because of every sort of influence. You hear it everywhere, but it holds true. Is consistency is key for me. In the beginning, I was like, yeah, okay, you hear it literally everywhere, you see it everywhere, do it.
Yeah.
But I had to find out from myself that this was the first thing that really like propelled me forward in really doing it week after week after week and being consistent. And that's the first thing I learned it after. It took me a few months to fully realize. I knew that consistency would be important and that you do your workouts. That was never a question for myself, but really like
Yeah. Yeah.
burning it into your brain that it's consistency is key.
Yeah. I think what you're saying is very true. I also think consistency beats intensity, so it doesn't need to be every time the best workout ever, impossible. But if you keep showing up, and even that means 3 times per week, if you're just consistent with that, you're
Yep.
going to win, right? The problem is like sometimes people use it the wrong way. They go to the gym like 8 weeks, maybe 3 months, and
Yep.
no, the hashtag consistency is everything. Do that for
Yep.
3 years, 30 years, or whatever, and then let's
Exactly.
talk, right? Then you also see what you actually get out of it, because someone who goes to the gym 5 times a week for 1 year will not get
Exactly.
closely to the point as someone who goes like maybe 2 or 3 times,
Mhm.
but for like
Exactly.
10 years, right?
So
So very good
exactly,
point.
that's the point. I realized that it's going to be important after a few months, but seeing it hold through, I only see since maybe a few months. So after 1.5 years or so, I realized, okay, if you do it consistent for 1.5 years, what's going to happen in the next 1.5 years? So this has a
Mm.
reference. The second one is form before weight. So of
Mhm.
course you need to add weight. I mean, the purpose of training is improve your weights. You need to add weight, you need to really burn your muscles, you need to have sore muscles at the end of the workout. But especially in the beginning learning first the correct form and the kind of mind muscle connection, so that you can really like focus
Yeah.
on, you put it in the
Uh-huh.
workouts, the squeeze, which is very important, because if you work out wrong, it's not going to add anything. So if you do the exercise wrong over and over and over again, you don't train it, you don't train the target muscle of this exercise in a way that you should be. So whenever you
Yeah.
set up a
But
routine or
I
so, I
would say,
focus first on the form if I don't know the exercise.
yeah, I think this is something that comes with time, because in the beginning you have no idea from mind to muscle connection, because you cannot
Cannot,
connect to,
yeah.
to the muscle. The connection is not there yet. Maybe there's not even muscle tissue
Yep.
there yet enough like to control it. But now, I mean, you can do dumbbells with 10 kilograms, like 20 repetitions, and you feel like totally fine. Or you can do 10 kilograms, 20 repetitions,
Yep.
exactly the same weight, but very controlled and squeeze, and you
Yep.
feel, wow, this was
You feel it
brutal,
different.
right?
Yep.
So yeah,
That's
good point.
the second one. And the third one is that you shouldn't give up if you hit your first plateau. I know that I've hit it now twice, which is kind of normal. You have like a peak improvement, and then you have like a stagnation phase where it gets harder to push through. And I think I'm short on breaking the second plateau now and improving even further. The first time I had it, it was like, was that it? Is that my limit? No, it's not. It's, as you always said as well, the weights do not have to increase every week or every second, third day. That's
I mean, it's
realistic. In the
impossible,
beginning, that's
right?
maybe possible because you have this initial fast gain and boost, but you need to realize afterwards that it can well be that, I think I had it for a month or so, where a certain exercise I was not able to increase. And then suddenly from one day to another, I was able to push through because, for example, a different muscle group was ready to go heavier and heavier. And then you have an initial, again, you have a very hard inclining curve where you can see your progress again, which motivates you. So if you ever hit your first plateau, do not give up and trust the process. And again, consistency is key. So stick to it, and you will see that there will be improvements.
But yeah, good, very good point. I like them. The last one, what I want to add is there will 100% be a point when you will hit plateau. It's just like part of the journey. And in fitness, you can do various of different things. Like you can play with your diet. Maybe you need to add some carbs a little bit. Maybe you need to like focus more on recovery, right? This could happen as well. Like when I look back, whenever I try to go 6 times a week, I know that I'm kind of flirting with overtraining, and I need to make sure that I sleep enough. Or then you can like start a new training phase. Maybe if you've been doing the same for too long, that means, okay, you need to switch things up, work out in a different rep range, do other exercises, and all of a sudden you see, oh wow, it's going again. I see like the numbers increasing, like I see the changes again, and I feel good. That's something I recommend anyway. Like you know that we switch everything up every 8 weeks.
Exactly.
Because you literally cannot just like add weight every single week. Otherwise you will be world champion in a year from now, right? If that was the case.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's at some point there's a certain stagnation, there's a certain plateau, there's a certain limit. If no one would experience limits, I think the 500 kilogram deadlift would not be the maximum anyone has ever lifted, or the 505. It would go just further because you keep adding and adding and adding. So there are certain plateaus which take time, but once you get through it, you realize that not only that specific muscle group is stronger where you were able to push through, but in general, your body is stronger because other muscles maybe had to adapt first in order that you can complete.
And we're referring here to muscle growth. It also applies to fat loss. So if someone wants to lose weight and all of a sudden it stagnates a little bit, okay, we need to maybe add some cardio, maybe again, change the diet, and all of a sudden, oh, it's going again, right? So that's very normal. I'm glad that you said that. One more question. This is the Stronger Than Yesterday podcast, and the goal of it is, as the name suggests, just to get stronger physically, mentally than the day before. Not like someone else. It's not a competition. It's something that I tell or have to say very, very often, and even to myself sometimes, because I see other people that are doing better in the gym, outside the gym, having more things and whatnot. And it's okay. It's a competition against yourself. You want to become better than the day before. I was wondering, what do you do to become stronger than the day before? Expect Fitness. Is there something that, I don't know, maybe you read, maybe you listen to podcasts, anything like that?
I think that's the hardest question. I struggled up front to like fully find a good answer. I think what I always try to do is, from the previous day, like take away one key sentence, and if that sentence ends up to be, I went to the gym and hold myself accountable, it's already okay for myself. But especially now, for example, with the 20% I have for my own graphical business, etc., the sentences may look different because I want to see that I make some progress in different areas. So I try to reflect a few minutes every day to, okay, what did I achieve today? I don't write it down or anything. Here again, we are maybe at the part of journaling where you can do that in the morning and reflect on yesterday and figure out what you want to do best. But I usually try to quickly reflect of how was the progress. And the thing is, you need to learn to be fine if the progress is not as big as you thought, or you maybe didn't do the step, or you maybe didn't achieve the goal for the day. But for me, in the worst case, the only thing I can say, hey, I hold myself accountable. I went to the gym. I did my workout. Tomorrow is the next day. That's like my...
So kind of reviewing, taking an actionable step for the next day. Is okay. Tomorrow you're going to be
just a short
do things a little bit differently.
Short reflection. It can
Cool.
be 1 minute. It can be just 30 seconds. It can be a few minutes depending on the day or whatever. And I find myself, I don't plan for this. I just find myself doing it without even thinking. I mean, latest when you go to bed, you quickly reflect on the day automatically or whatever. And
it became routine, right? Like your bad night routine or whatever. You just do it. Cool. Where can people find you? I don't even know whether Instagram is public or whether it's closed. But it's public. So where can people find you?
I don't know if you can display the name or whatever, because it's a bit weird to type out, but it's basically, so it's D and then 4 and then VE. So Dave, but with a 4 and 2 Ds in the beginning. 4. Maybe there's a way to display it.
What does it stand for, by the way? Like also, like, I mean, the 4 looks like
yes,
A,
right?
Right?
That's it already. So Dave but I remember Dave just with a 4 was already taken, so I added another D in the beginning. It's
got it.
It's kind of old already.
I'm gonna link it in the description. That's perfectly fine. Is there anything you want to add before we wrap this up here?
Not much. I think we are in together more since then 1 year and 7 months or something like this, and I still continue to utilize your coaching ability and your ability as a coach. So for me, I realized that even though I know a lot by myself already, I still miss a lot of knowledge I still don't know. So especially switching up on how you switch up your workouts, etc. So that's the biggest part I learned already after 1 year, after a few months already, that it's actually important that I keep this and not just call it a year, for example, and then I think I can embark on that journey by myself. So that's one of the things why I think I'll stick to it. And
basically realizing that you don't know it all.
Yeah,
and this is very, very difficult for people because of the ego, right? But yeah,
I've learned many things. Also how I can small adjust a bit my nutrition and what sort of effect does it has. So you learn it, but especially the switching up the workouts, adding the new exercise and so on. I know many exercises by now, but it always comes down to the combination of exercises, the exchange, and so etc. So that's something I could never replace by myself. And for me, for my body type, it's super important to have that sort of differentiation on weekly or 8-week basis. So I really appreciate that support over more than 1.5 years.
Awesome.
And
yeah, I'm glad that you get the value. I feel flattered right now. I don't even know
I fully get
what
the
to
value.
say. Also from my side, obviously, thanks for your trust. Also, really appreciate you. It's not normal that someone sticks for so long, right? So thanks for doing that. And as always, if there's something that I can do for you, I'm here. Like I want to for you to be successful, right? I want that you succeed in everything you do. So not only in your fitness journey, but also about your side hustle. Then reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help. Just want that you know that. Okay.
Happily get back to you. Thanks much.
Cool, dude. Thanks a lot. Keep in touch. Thanks a lot for doing this with me. And with that being said, wish you an awesome day. And talk
Thanks
to you
much.
soon.
Thanks, Martin.
Cheers. Bye bye.